Long Beach PD is about to contact a guy who was on his way to Bible study, but unfortunately on his way to Bible study, he then decided to commit an armed robbery in a stolen car. And then he drove off. They responded to that, but the car pulled out just as they were getting there, a different PD. And so they chased that guy for a while. He didn't end up going to the Bible study, but he did evade the police from there and then wrecked up his stolen vehicle and then fled there over towards a taco truck. A bunch of bystanders finally flagged down Long Beach PD as they were searching for the guy and pointed him out. They're about to contact him here. Let's listen into the badge cams.
Get over here, I'm talking to you. Walk this way. Walk this way. Keep your hands out of your pocket. Put your hands on the hood. Put your hands on the hood.
What happened, sir?
Keep your hands up. Hey, Eric. Keep your...
I gotta listen to that again. Why are they stopping him? Because he's drunk. Say that again.
A guy who was on his way to Bible study, but unfortunately on his way to Bible study, he then decided to commit an armed robbery in a stolen car. And then he drove off. They responded to that, but the car pulled out just as they were getting there, a different PD. And so they chased that guy for a while. He didn't end up going to the Bible study, but he did evade the police from there and then wrecked up his stolen vehicle and then fled there over towards a taco truck. A bunch of bystanders finally flagged down Long Beach PD as they were searching for the guy and pointed him out. They're about to contact him here. Let's listen into the badge cams.
Get over here, I'm talking to you. Walk this way. Walk this way. Keep your hands out of your pocket. Put your hands on the hood. Put your hands on the hood.
What happened, sir?
Keep your hands up. Hey, Eric. Keep your hands on the hood. I'm not going to tell you again. Hey. Hey, 417, left pocket. Separate your feet. Hey, keep your hands in your pocket. Put them on the hood. I'm not going to tell you again. Keep your hands on the hood. Put your hands on the hood. I'm not going to tell you again. Keep your hands on the hood. 417 on right pocket. Hey, I see the gun.
What did he say though?
Hey, get on the...
What did he just say? Why you not putting me in handcuffs? Oh wow. That's outrageous. That's pretty outrageous. Of course you gotta justify that, man. Like, that's not justified. All these, how many conflicting what they call it? Comeback. They said all types of shit. Do this, do that. All with guns pointed at me. Nigga's gonna get nervous, you know what I mean? I understand he did something, but still. Maybe he didn't think
out of your pocket. Put your hands on the hood. Put your hands on the hood.
What happened, sir?
Keep your hands up. Hey, Eric. Keep your hands on the hood. I'm not going to... Keep your hands on the hood.
What happened, sir?
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands out of your pocket. Put your hands on the hood. Put your hands...
Absolutely. I don't know. No, maybe I'm I mean, he lifted his whole fucking shirt. Stop stalling, nigga. Yeah, this is stupid.
What happened, sir?
Keep your hands up. Hey, Eric.
Funny what happened.
Keep your hands on the hood. I'm not going to tell you again. Hey. Hey,
Up
417 left
and on the
pocket.
hood.
Separate your feet. Hey, keep your hands in your pocket. Put them on the hood. I'm not going to tell you again. Keep your hands on the hood. Put your hands on the hood. I'm not going to tell you again. Keep your hands on the hood. 417 on the right pocket. Hey, I see the gun. Don't wait for you to get shot. Okay, get on your knees. You got a gun. Don't wait for you to get shot. Okay, get on your knees.
Yeah.
Okay, get on your knees.
Down on one knee, he said. And then they shoot him.
See the gun? You got a gun. Don't wait for you to get shot. Okay, get on your knees.
I mean, we know what that was.
I was just trying to get on my knees.
Hey, you're not hit, right?
You're not hit, right? Cops are so funny, man. You hear that serial killer calm after they do what they want to do? Hmm? That's some serial killer shit right there. A bunch of commands. Keep your hands on the hood. Keep your hands up. Get down on one knee. You hear Santa Claus say this was somehow justified. I think dudes like that aren't, I mean, whether they're police officers or not, dudes like that are demonically inclined, they will always like try to justify it by like they want to kill, right? Like whatever means to an end is necessary, they will, you know what I mean, they will facilitate that situation. So they're hoping realistically for someone to be like they'll make it work, you know what I mean? They make a bad person, a bad guy. They need that to justify them being somehow good or whatever. I don't know. And at the same time getting their kills in, you know what I mean? That's probably what it is. You need to have to kill, so might as well be bad guys. So yeah, whatever he was accused of doing before this stop justifies them giving conflicting commands and then shooting. And that's reality. You know what I mean? Like I'm just giving like a little bit of a profile of like the rando civilian that comments on these type of videos and bigs up the police. Now it's gonna make us wait again. That's alright, gonna put 10 points on you. This 1 minute, it's gonna be a 10-point lead, my guy. Know this. Know this. Damn. Edie, huh? Coming through. Yeah, we're gonna play that down to the wire. Down to the wire, Bazamita. Mm-mm-mm.
Alright, get on the.
Outrageous. They're mad he's not dead. Don't get it twisted. They're mad he's not dead.
He's got the gun in his pocket.
He wanted to say in his hand, but obviously. Handcuffing him.
Secure that. Roll him over. Start medical right now.
Justify this. Go ahead. Justify it. Ignoring the conflicting comments.
Our perp here never did make it to Bible study. Instead, he was taken into custody and charged with all of his crimes, sentenced to 6 years in prison for what he has done. From prison, he filed a $10 million lawsuit against Long Beach PD, alleging that he was just trying...
Listen to him, huh? Listen to this motherfucking idiot. Bible study. Like all this unnecessary shit, you know what I mean? Explain why this is justified somehow.
Trying to get on his knees, and they shot him, and they shouldn't have. We'll talk about it in the lessons. I don't think that lawsuit has been fully adjudicated yet, but I got opinions. I say this all the time, that guy who is clear thinking, low emotion, non-compliant like this guy, one of the most dangerous people that you'll ever have to deal with, just robbed a store, gun that's known to him. A lot of stuff to talk about in the totality of the circumstances here. But Mike, why would they point a gun at a guy who is just on his way to Bible study? Clearly, Long Beach PD knows who this guy is, knows that he's a suspect in carjackings and armed robberies, has just arm robbed somebody with a gun. I have zero problems with an officer having a gun in his hand here. Their mission, I think, is to apprehend criminals, and I think this is a pretty textbook approach.
Yeah, I think, John, you correct me, you're the Bible scholar. Is it not Second Hesitations, where it says that he who droppeth thou hand towards thine saber shall get shot a bunch of times by the Long Beach PD? I can't remember. Again, I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I believe that's actually Third Opinions. Yeah.
Oh, very good. So, this one is pretty cut and dry. There's a few things, that I'll mention here in a little bit that maybe could have done.
Okay, let's for a second ignore what this white supremacist opinion is. You can't give a bunch of, like, what? Was it hands on the hood or was it get on your knees? Is that on the civilian, on the drunk suspect? You know what I mean? To determine that. Who's the officer in charge? Who's running the scene? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, cut and dry, murdering people. Attempting, at least, you know what I mean? They tried. Didn't work out for them. When they don't want you to talk also, that I've seen also in other videos, they will delay CPR or like any type of first aid in order to, like, that guy can't be a witness type deal. Something like that. Like acting goofy, acting like they're trying to get to their car to get first aid kit, delaying, like, I can't get my gloves on, that type of shit. Not that happened here. But my thing is, you can't give, like the last comment he was given by a police officer, as much as you want to say, like, yeah, the guy that was running the scene, that was giving commands, that wasn't the guy that he was, I don't know. Like, he should have listened to the supervisor. I don't know what they're trying. Like, the guy is a police officer and he gave a command to get on the knee, and he acquiesced and got shot. That's what I've seen. Did his hands drop from the hood to his waist? You know what I mean? They did. But they have been. Nothing had changed, you know. His hand had dropped, like he just had finished pulling his hood. Um, like the whole thing was waist movements. You know what I mean? He was obviously trying to conceal a weapon, or I don't know what he was trying to get rid of it. Like that's probably the first instinct that a lot of these guys that don't want to get caught with the gun think of. You know, doing like let me get rid of the gun in front of the police and then act like it wasn't my gun. You know what I mean? Then they get shot in the process. Because the cop always fears for his life. So they just feared for the safety, but didn't fear for the safety before. Because he had been reaching to his waist before that. What changed? They weren't sure that he had a gun? No, they were sure. Reality is, they weren't sure until the complete end that he had a gun. But they were sure of that they, if they give him enough like conflicting commands, they will have an opportunity to shoot him though. You know what I mean? Gun or not. He was pointed out. Usually like a white person pointing somewhere, that's enough probably cause for a police officer to go hands on and arrest you. And find, you know. And then after it, reason. And stack up charges. If need be, you know, the white finger, man. That's judge, jury, executioner, everything, man. The white finger just pointing. Yeah, I'm following you out, Porzingis. Just make my mind up. See, we're getting into the spazzing. That's great stuff. Let's see what these creepy ass comments say to this. He won some type of challenge. He won the white fuck around and white something white. Porzingis losing that battle. I take him man. Can put away now. Wanna do. Good time.
A little bit differently. But yeah, this guy with the lawsuit, I don't know, man. What is he going to spend $10 million on in prison? I don't know if the commissary has $10 million worth of stuff for him to buy.
He's gonna get all the soups.
All these police jokes, but it's not really reasoning we're getting here, right? Like they're not gonna tell us about these conflicting commands. It's just police jokes that they might think it like nothing will happen to them, right? That's their mindset. They're spared of hellfire. Quit. Do what you have to do. You know what I mean? let's not elongate this. This is silliness right now. You're getting the whooping you deserve. And that's that. Harvey. Harvey. Spazzy. You a spaz, bro. Nah, you a spaz, man. I'm having fun with you. Good defense. It was good defense.
And all of the best ramen.
He's just going to have literally the wall behind him at the back of his cell is going to be up to here with ramen just stacked from floor to ceiling. He can then trade that for favors or cigarettes. Oh, no cigarettes anymore. Whatever they trade things for in prison these days. This is just a crazy thing, and it's one of these deals where I've been at the end of pursuits and the end of the culmination of this sort of thing where there is a bad guy. He does have a gun, and he just does what he's told, and doesn't get hurt, doesn't even get punched in the face, let alone shot. So
doesn't even get punched in the face. Oh my god, a bad guy, right? So what exactly did he do? Did he shoot them? Did he pull the gun? Did he do anything like that? No. He actually did what they told him to do, which is go to a knee. Oh, how does that not count somehow? I guess they wanted him to go to his knees with his hands up. Don't verbalize that shit, man. I don't know. We think you have a gun. We don't want you to blah blah blah. They want to shoot him. So all this babble about we don't want you to get shot is, you would be very specific, man. Keep your hands up. Don't reach for nothing. While going to your knees, you gotta keep your hands up. That type of shit, man. It ain't that hard, guys. You know what I mean? But conflicting shit, keep your hands up. Put your hands on the hood and then go to one knee. Like, these are three different commands, man. And somehow he's supposed to follow which one is he supposed to follow? Where is the moral and the prudent coming in, telling me which one is he supposed to follow? You know what I mean? Can you enlighten me? Which would be the moral and prudent option? The first one, keeping your hands up while going to your knees. I don't know. Is the going to your knees option even? I don't know. I guess that doesn't work out in the report. You gotta write the report. Did someone tell him to go to his knees? Let's just go by the report the corrupt cops are gonna write. They're gonna say they didn't tell him that third command, right? They're gonna say maybe he was already uncooperative after we told him to keep his hands up, and he proceeded to put his hands on the hood. How would you describe that if you were a corrupt cop? When he had his hands on the hood, he made further movements to we notified him that we would shoot him if he put his hands down. I don't know what if he reached for his gun. And then he made furtive movements towards his waist while stepping back at that point, we feared for our life and opened fire on him. Like, they lit him up, man, for actually doing what they told him to do, man. That's what this is.
This is something where this guy, made a decision, I think, as we'll discover here shortly, really intentionally. It almost had to be on purpose, because once the police have said, hey, I see the gun, I see where it is, and then you put your hand right where they told you not to put your hand, I don't know what else to call that. I don't think it was completely accidental on his part.
Yeah, and for all these officers, the klaxon bell.
That's funny, man. That babble. I think your instinct at that point, like, let's put it from his perspective, right? These motherfuckers are gonna shoot you, right? In essence, like, the reason why they're gonna shoot you, it would be that weapon on you. But you still got that weapon on you. In your mind, you probably think, I don't know what you're thinking, man. But that weapon is definitely something like, it's like a kid that you tell to not touch something. Or like a fever dream where you doing something you don't want to do but you can't stop doing it type of deal. Like, that's all this attention is on the thing that you got in your, you know what I mean? So you kind of want to get, like, as a natural, like, body reaction, you probably try to get rid of it somehow. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I don't know, like, his whole demeanor is that of like a dishonest type. What is the reason, officer type of deal? You know what I mean? That I can give them. But at the same time, like, he was actually, I don't know how stabilized they want this situation, because at the moment this dude is with his hands, like, he even responded to that spread your feet type of shit. At that point you might want to go hands on him, you know what I mean? Or two of you, and control his limbs, I guess, you know what I mean, if you suspect him having a gun. But they were like kind of weighing their options if they want to go hands on, because the cowardice, you know, because the option of having a gun and being able to like end this situation without necessarily having to, yeah, you're lifting a finger, but it's not gonna be this struggle. So going hands on a corpse or someone you put full of lead is obviously a little bit less dangerous. So they like to put that pre-corpse in cuffs, and then they get to extracting. Like, they obviously put cuffs on them, right, before they got the weapon, but they like to put it on an injured person, so, you know, so they won't prick themselves going through your pockets. I guess the law-abiding Christian is gonna just like ignore all these things, you know what I mean? Like, this guy deserves death, and that's why he got shot. And there ends the video. There's no lessons to be taken from this. This is a whole morbid, you know what I mean, Goa channel at this point. And then it's easier for me like to I don't like that like uppity thing, man, where you think of yourself as like an authority figure, judging. You not only are you judging these criminals, you're judging like regular civilians, making them out to be bad guys when they are civilians, just because they got into a situation where they're getting shot by the police. That immediately like absolves any type of wrongdoing of the police officer, you know what I mean? Like, any type of little infraction can result in like ridiculousness, man, ending of lives. And that's alright, seemingly, you know, because someone made an infraction. That's where it's like a little bit weird, man. I don't know. I'm not saying like everything's better over here, because I bet like there's German dudes that like neo-Nazis going on these sites and applauding the American police for dealing with the criminals and in a hard way and blah blah blah. It's all like built on Hollywood and watching movies, you know. It seems like this sense of right or wrong. It seems to be not necessarily that morality has been you have been indoctrinated, it seems like, you know? You watched cop shows and you were rooting for the good guys in movies. And now you really think people should die for mistakes. In movies also, like we see that type of shit, right? We're rooting for him to shoot the bad guy while the bad guy's teasing him. Yeah, you got rules and regulations. You can't pull the trigger. You know what I mean? And you're sitting at home like rooting for him to pull the trigger. Like, you lost your badge. You know how sad they were at the final scene of Seven when Brad Pitt kills that serial killer. Why are they so sad? Because he's gonna lose his badge. He's not gonna go to prison. Never thought of that. He's gonna take a ride to the station in the back of the police car. You know what I mean? Mourning his wife. He's not gonna go to prison, guys. That serial killer, Kevin Spacey, he was making furtive movements. You know what I mean? He was reaching. Yeah. Like this guy.
Needs to be going off, right? This guy's non-compliant and he's super nonchalant. And that is, you know, I've never seen somebody actually chalant, but you know, this guy is nonchalant, and you can see here that he is testing the limits of how far he cannot obey, how far he can be non-compliant and not get shot. Because the officer has already identified that he has a gun in his left front pocket. And this guy here, low emotion, apparently clear thinking, and he is non-compliant. So my one thing here, a couple things actually, Mike. Number one officer
First of all,
communicating, please, so that there's no confusion. Number
your
two,
mother? First
I
of all,
don't
your
like
mom?
the, I'm not going to tell you again because it was a bluff and he did tell him again.
Hindsight. But still, I don't know, man. There's only so much you can say really about this type of shit. They wanted their kill and they got their kill. Or they didn't get their kill. But I'm sure they disabled this guy permanently. Which we all take like a... It's just the cost of doing business. Right, guys?
Well, what's funny here, John, is a comparison between this suspect
Nothing is
and
funny.
a
Your
4-year-old kid.
Your mother.
A
Your
4-year-old
mother.
kid.
They love that. Even after shooting a guy. Like adding insult to injury with this like uppity analysis and like joking on, I don't know, man. It's I probably don't have the vocabulary to really put it into words how annoyed I get by these fatzos, man. Just having fun with it. Am I trivializing death when making these videos about weirdos doing these type of videos? In a sense, but I'd like to be a little bit more upfront with it, you know what I mean? Do I care about this dude getting lit up there? I don't know, in a sense I do, because I don't know, yeah, I think I don't know that you have to put yourself in his shoes necessarily to not want to murder a person. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Or get murdered. I mean, it's as easy as that. If I cannot shoot you, I will not try to shoot you. Type of deal. But then there's others out there, bro, that would like to shoot someone. And then they would like to get a medal for it.
If you've been a parent for any length of time, you know that you'll be like, you don't pick that up, or don't walk over there, or whatever, and they'll sort of look you dead in the eye and start slowly doing the thing, testing their boundaries to see how far they can push you. This guy reminded me a lot of a 4-year-old. Like, I'm not gonna completely disobey, but I'm gonna push my limits to see how far I can go. I want to reiterate what you said about one officer giving commands. Figure it out, guys, as soon as you get to wherever you're going and you got a bad guy in your sights. Figure out who's talking, let that person do the talking, and let that person...
Yo, maybe chill with the bad guy. I don't know, that irks me a little bit, bro. Because that's how these motherfuckers justify any type of atrocities. So, yeah, that just makes it a little easier for them to kill humans, you know what I mean? Just bad guy. They're like also subject You know what I mean? It just becomes more and more surreal.
And somehow has developed a bad rapport with the person, then you can switch, but do it intentionally. Go, all right, this isn't working. You know, this guy doesn't like me for some reason, so I'm going to pass it over to Sally and let her start talking. The other thing is, I think had they thought about it enough, they're under a lot of stress here, these officers, but I think maybe getting behind him or putting him in a place where he can't see you might have been a better option. This just occurred to me. It seems to me that if you could go move around behind the guy, he can't see you anymore, and it's going to be a lot harder for him to get a good shot off with that gun. Just something to think about.
Also, I want to recognize here that this guy, look at the look in his face. We have a clear thinking, low emotion, non-compliant person. That is absolutely the most dangerous perp to deal with. You know he's got a gun, you know he's used it to commit armed robbery, and he is looking around for a way to go. This is absolutely klaxon bells.
Shut your mouth, man. If you wanted to go, you wouldn't have come. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't buy it. Man, look at his eyes. Look at his look. Shut the fuck up, bro. You don't have any type of situational awareness or like emotional intelligence to judge looks or whatever. Like, I've heard it enough to know that you don't have it, man. You keep missing shit. You're a dummy. You know, you're a couch potato. No. You've never been on either side, you know? I would be a better fucking expert. Yeah, but this shit, to me, he looked intoxicated, you know, walking up. And like, no, like, yeah, how about surround the motherfucker? How about get your hands on? Why aren't you putting hands on the motherfucker? If he has a gun, we take it off him. You know, what's with this bitching? What it's you being scared tactics. This is goofy, man.
High alert, I know what's going to happen. And then he makes this gesture
I know
towards
what's
the
gonna
very
happen.
place
What is
where
talking
his gun is. And is the officer justified in this case to use deadly force? The answer to that is
Yeah, unequivocally, absolutely unequivocally. Shut your fucking mouth, man. Shut your mouth. He had his hands actually under his fucking shirt before when he was walking out. He was coming from somewhere where he could have concealed something. Like, are you retarded, bro? What changed? You know? Where did he put his hands from to put it on the hood? Where did he put his hands from to put them up? Nothing had changed, man. Why did he already pull the gun then? If he wanted to shoot him.
unequivocally yes. This is what we call the furtive gesture that he went right for. Look at his left hand. That gun is in his left pocket, has been identified, and they have told him they know he has a gun there. And he has then put his hands down towards that gun. Given all of this, I have zero problems with this shooting. I would say this is 100% justified, and the lawsuit is complete.
And it's also jerk-off material for you. You failed to mention that. You will jerk off to that footage. You are telling us all this with a boner. You know what I mean? Sitting there. Yeah. You gotta read in between lines to get that.
Completely baseless, because this guy, for any reasonable person, is going for that gun.
Yeah, no, I don't know any. I shouldn't say no officer wants to shoot someone. I don't know. Maybe there is an officer out there who does, but I've never met one. At least
Maybe that means most of them want to. Like, you always gotta kind of understand the language. You know what I mean? He just kind of exposed that he wants to. Like the nicest daddy type. Oh, he's such a nice dad cop. Is a sociopath that wants to lay on you until you breathe your last breath, suffocate you under his weight.
I would say it out loud. I know I wanted to avoid having to get into any kind of deadly force situation or even a use of force if it's avoidable.
Sure.
So these officers aren't, they're not champing at the bit to start shooting at this guy. They really would like to avoid it. But the fact that he did, as you said, John, he put his hand exactly where he shouldn't have put his hand. is a problem. I personally prefer hands way up over your head in a situation like this rather than on the car. That just gives you an extra split second, of reaction time if he does decide to reach for the gun, which he did. It gives you an extra split second of reaction.
I don't know that you can really prepare for these type of situations. You know what I mean? I think over preparedness ends in people getting killed. Like, they're not even talking about that. They wanted him to go to one knee. That made him drop his hands. That's when they shot. They're not going to talk about it. It ends at keep your hands up. You know what I mean? We're 10 minutes into this analysis. They haven't talked about it.
Time to react. In this case with gunfire, because that gunfire is what was appropriate under the circumstances. And this guy, it could be he wanted to get shot, he wanted to die rather than go to prison, who knows, but he put the quarter in the jukebox, as it were.
Yep, and I also think both
And that's everybody, that's how they make it okay for them. He wanted to die. That's crazy. Imagine you going like to the mall, whatever you do, you know what I mean? Just living your daily routine. And some cop killing you, then like talking about how you wanted to die. Was that the case in this situation? I don't know. Do we even know that this guy was really the guy that did all this? Or did they like make him the guy after they shot him? I mean, in America, people have guns, right? So we're just assuming because he had a gun that he was the guy?
both the previous one and this one have actually positioned themselves in a place. Number one, they've got that good, what we would call an L-shaped ambush. They are not in each other's backstop, but notice that they have good backstops. And when you got a second to think, and when you got a little bit of time to put yourself in a good spot, hey, this is a better spot here. I can see his hands. He has a harder time seeing me, and I have a decent backstop here. This is probably the best case scenario. Now, I know it shows black here. This is an industrial area. It's probably a sparsely populated area. So, listen, got to be able to see his hands. When he drops his hands like that, you've got to make split-second decisions. And, Mike, I think they made a good one here.
Yeah, I agree. I know we're kind of beating the dead horse as far as the fact that it was a good shoot, but it really was. And again, this is one of those videos where I can see, somebody who's never been in this position, who doesn't have any training, who hasn't, done this sort of thing forever in their lives, actually, thinking, well, how do they know? How do they know? Well, the fact is they don't know. There is no certainty in the world when it comes to policing. And in this situation, they didn't know for certain that's what he was doing, but you can't take the chance. You can't take the chance that the guy is, doing whatever other thing he could possibly be doing. You just told him what to do. He did the opposite, and you react. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and he made that little plaintive cry after he shot multiple times. I was trying to get on my knees. Okay, bro. Well, listen, you made the furtive gesture towards your gun that we know that you had, and you know that we know that you had. And I don't buy it. I don't think that has any reason for the...
Who would like this guy? Like a exhibition type of deal, you know what I mean? I don't know. Regardless, MMA. Let's make it MMA. I would love that, man. I would love that. Have a little tete-a-tete. No guns involved, I know you'd like that. He'd like that, right? Have his gun tucked away in an MMA fight, and then when the guy, the furtive movement, and then he shoots him. But I'd like this guy I'd like to see him defend himself, you know what I mean? All this like tough talk, mocking the dead and all. I feel it's appropriate maybe we review a couple of deleted cops and how they did, Listen to them scream away, cry for mommy. Have a fun stream maybe? That would be something, wouldn't it? It should be a holiday, man. Dedicated to that shit. Yeah, but this dude, I wanted to get on my knees. That's what he said after they told him to. Yeah, bro, but you didn't, and you did the opposite, and that gets you killed over here. Get stabbed in the neck. You know what I mean? By a random. You know what I mean? Like, meet your karma. Head on.
The officers to believe in this guy is a dirtbag and doing dirtbag things. I will say one final bit there, we're not stopped on it, but you saw that guy that's sitting in the truck, and after the shots ring out, he's just kind of sitting there watching what's going on. Maybe time to start the truck and get the heck out of there and not be in the line of fire anything further.
Interesting, huh? Attitude this guy has. Like a very noxious, they say, nauseating. Like as a foreign guy, right? Like reviewing American shit right now. We know that attitude from you. Famous for it. And realistically, your criminals, like your immigrants and the guys you've captured and they're now applied to you, they have that same shit, man. That American shit. Like it also translates like to your nuisances. The guys you'd like to be out of there. That's that funny shit, man. Like watching you from an objective perspective. You're out there, man. You're all out there. You know, when American tourists like visit other countries, they stand out. Like white Americans. Like, you know, you say black people are loud, emotional and everything. But Americans, man, like just Americans, you can hear them, you know, a mile away. They make themselves noticed. And I don't know, like, and that's supposed to be the good ones. Your good ones, the well-adjusted ones, descendants of cowboys and settlers and, you know what I mean? Bunch of rapists and murderers. Like a prison colony. So it's funny to watch this like from a, like, I'm not in your country. I visited, and let me tell you, man, I was a kid back then. I had an uneasy feeling. There was just something in the air, you know? I visited Canada on my own, just a couple years later. Or maybe I visited Canada before. I've visited America a bunch of times. But in Canada, I spent time like I was in like some language course. Complete different vibe, man. Like I could live there actually. Like that was very, I was in Calgary. That was very, I don't know. The people were nicer, man. Seemed nicer over there, you know? Like in Miami, I felt threatened, man. Just being in the mall and shit. Like it was a little uneasy. I'm not trying to put a face on it, right? But like, it was something else, you know what I mean? Like a different, like I'm not saying it's bad necessarily, you know, but just something where I would have a hard time fitting in. I could tell. While it's familiar in a sense, it's scary, bro. It's scary the way how segregated the areas are. That gives you an uneasy feeling, like you're all of a sudden really in a war zone, you know what I mean? Or like something is supposed to happen in this area or whatever. Like, what is that? That must be on purpose, you know what I mean? Because I know these type of areas in Germany. I live in one. And they don't, like, it's not the same, you know what I mean? I would never be, but that's just natural probably, because I haven't come up in that environment, then obviously it's gonna seem foreign to me. And I'm a stranger, obviously, and then, yeah. But even in South Africa, I had an easier time, like, kind of fitting in, it seemed like. Not that I was really venturing out in Miami like that. I should have probably got over that. Oh, that was a weird time too. Yeah, but I guess, yeah, whatever. I'm sure everything is supposed to be as it is. Nothing is by accident. Whatever type of powder keg you harboring over there, I'm sure has been installed. You know what I mean? That's not. Yeah. Anyway.
I think at the end of the day, these officers did a fine job. I think that, they handled this contact with a person who we know.
There you go. See, they never addressed it. It always takes the comments, and it doesn't have to be like that. Could be a Ku Klux Klan member, which a lot of these channels harbor these type of dudes. But that could be that guy. Even it doesn't have to be a guy that's like nuanced. But even him, he was a guy was definitely pushing his luck, but contradictory commands from multiple officers have gotten suspects killed, and they really need to sort that out in training. They won't talk about that. Why won't they talk about it though? Right? I mean, another comment pointing it out. One is lying. Yeah, we've all seen them. Different commands, and so they can kill him. Like, that's a tactic. He got himself shot. You see, that's that weirdo mindset where you pull the trigger and it's the other guy's fault. Like, you see, the guy is not really doing what you're telling him to do. Like, you're really waiting to shoot him by keeping the whole command thing going. You know what I mean? You got the dude on your fucking with the hands on the fucking hood. What are you waiting for, man? Make up the distance and go hands on. The fuck? How fast is he? How strong is he? Like, he's gonna reach and shoot through his jacket. Like, okay, do you know? Exactly. That's a very interesting comment and not one like. That tells you, like, people are sick. The person's attention was on the officer to his right, and the officer said to put his hands up. No command was given to get on his knees. Officer to Pub's right gave him 3 opportunities to keep his hands on the hood. I think if he didn't move as he was told... Oh no. This is a sicko comment. Why am I interpreting it wrong? Yeah. They wanted him to do everything at the same time. And they shot him. Yeah, they want to act like that last command is not legal or something. When that is really... Why he... I don't know, man. He didn't have his hands on the hood. He kept them up to argue and shit, but he put them back on the hood. Then one guy tells him to get on his knees, takes a step back and gets shot. Man, I don't buy any of that, man. He had a gun before they ever made contact with him. Could have pulled up with the gun, you know what I mean? You didn't have no obligation to just, like, acquiesce as he had up to that point. He hadn't pulled the gun, right? He hadn't reached. Reaching is to them just like having your arms at your side. Like, eat a dick. Eat a motherfucking dick, you know what I mean? Get the fucking gun off me, basically. At that point. At one point he even asked them, I think, why are you not putting me in cuffs?